So, do you remember that time when the Slither files came out and I fucking immediately said Aubrey was lying about his relationship with his brother and he'd actually been doing business with him? Do you remember that? You remember how I'd been saying that for years and everyone was calling me a piece of shit liar, including Aubrey? And you remember when I said that, one of the things that happened was Aubrey's wife went on the Slither Files and attacked me, and said, well, maybe if Rodney Bullock wouldn't have held on to this information so long, these animals wouldn't have had to suffer like that. Now, I had that information for about 6 days before I put it out because nobody would let me have it because of how I do things. But when USARK fucking didn't come through and there was no legal recourse, their only option was Rodney. That's what happened. So, do you remember how I kept pushing it and pushing it that Aubrey was in fact dealing with Samson? He's never even been there, no, nothing. And then it turned out, well, I was there, but I was never inside. I was just like dropping off cages or something, right? Just remember that. You remember how on my podcast 6 days ago, I said, it's going to go from I was never there to I was there like once to I was never inside to I was inside to I didn't see any abuse to well, I didn't do any business with them, but yeah, oh well, there was that time that I did that breeder loan, and there's why? Because Rodney was telling the truth the whole time. And why is Aubrey doing the Free Ternate project? Well, he says it's because I publicly called him a piece of shit over him saying he's downsizing to be with his family. Okay. I knew that's a lie. Okay, and I can prove it's a lie. Because if you're getting rid of snakes to be with your family, you don't go out and get a bunch of ternates to try to mass produce them to give them away for free, which would take time away from your family. That would mean Aubrey trying to destroy the retic industry to get back at me is more important than spending time with his family, and more important than all the years and effort he put into his own projects, which he started dumping and trading for $1,500 ternates. So that's a lie. That mathematically doesn't add up. But the real reason he was doing that is because, I believe, the economy shit. He milked as much of the big money out of Ocelot as he could. No one's spending the crazy money. And he's really fucking butthurt that Bob got Bacan. And we all saw that fight, and we all saw Dax throwing a fit, and Dax to this day is still trying to go after Bob for Aubrey. And he's really upset about Aztec because Aztec has a much better fucking color palette and color spectrum than fucking Aztec does. So we already know that Aztec is going to go much finer with a lot of morphs than Ocelot. I still think Ocelot's a better investment just because of Bob's inability to not crash his own projects. But and I have been right about everything, all the stuff I said about Gavin and Jay and fucking Kevin and Garrett. What's the chances I'm wrong about Aubrey on this one? I'm not. But now Aubrey's in a weird situation because Aubrey knows the truth and he knows I know the truth. And he's pretty sure I have some messages and documentation of the truth. And I anticipated 6 days ago on my first episode of my podcast that it was going to, we were going to see a progression of not there, was only outside, was never inside, was inside, and then, well, maybe I did do a breeder loan, and maybe I did do this. But you got to remember, he said at the beginning of this, he didn't do any of that, and I was a fucking liar. And then his wife blamed me for the abuse, saying I was covering it up to create some sort of grand fucking exposure to somehow benefit myself. You know, fuck these people. Pruitts are fucking shitbags. And liars lie, and then liars lie more to try to cover up their lies. So, is the industry okay with Aubrey actively trying to destroy the only truly sustainable locality we have in this country, while simultaneously crashing the prices of every single morph he breeds it into? And I don't work with that many morphs. This is going to hurt everyone else significantly more than it hurts me. On top of that, it's looking like maybe Rodney was telling the truth about the breeder loans. Maybe Rodney was telling the truth about Aubrey walking through that facility. And if Rodney was telling the truth about that, what's the chances Rodney's wrong about Aubrey's reason for actually downsizing when I called him a fucking piece of shit after charging everyone $10,000, $12,000 for fucking ocelots and then starting to dump shit? You don't have to like me, but at least give me credit when I'm fucking right.